So we are on to our second chapter of our course Hydraulics and Pneumatics. The name of subject is pressure and its measurement. So what is pressure? अगर हम इसकी बात करें तो what is pressure? So pressure is basically the total force exerted by a liquid on any surface in contact with it is basically called thrust of liquid, or you can say force of the liquid. The thrust exerted by a liquid per unit area of the surface in contact with the liquid is called the pressure. So the amount of force or the thrust which is being acting on the fluid per unit area is called the pressure. Like if you can say, if you are having a balloon in your hand and you're compressing the balloon from both sides with both your hands, and the amount of thrust which is being applied by your hands on the balloon, because balloon is filled with the fluid, that is air or the gas, and whenever it is compressing the balloon, the amount of thrust which is being applied by your hands on the balloon is called the pressure. So the amount of thrust is called the pressure. So what are the units of pressure? Units of pressure are Newton per meter square in the case of the SI units, and the CGS units we have diameter. Whenever it is flowing from a pipe from one point to another point, it always exerts pressure. So let us say consider a vessel that is containing liquid, and if it has a small hole near the bottom, the liquid will generally flow out of it. And if the motion of the liquid is stopped by pressing a finger against the hole, or you are mm, using any nipple to uh, close the outlet of the water which is flowing from the container, the finger will experience an outward force due to the liquid contained in the vessel or the container. So we can say that liquid exerts pressure on the base and walls of the container or the vessel. So this pressure generally being measured in the terms of Newton per meter square. That is, meter squares are the units of area, you always know, and Newton is the units of force or the thrust which is being acting on the fluid. That fluid may be liquid whenever it is stored in the container, or if you are talking about balloon, we are having a gas or air which is being stored in the balloon. So there are some. Uh, so first one is the we always know that if in any industrial plant you are having a instruments, many kinds of machines or instruments are being installed in the larger plant of a industrial unit. So if any in any given plant the number of pressure gauges used is probably larger than the instruments put together. So number of instruments or the number of machines which are being used in the industrial plant are less than as compared to the pressure sensors are being installed. So let us take an example of pressure cooker which is being used by your mother or your sister at your home. Then the pressure is being built up in the pressure cooker where the food is being cooked. You can see that there is a pressure vessel. On the top side there is a safety valve installed on the pressure on the handle of the on the top surface or the handle of the pressure cooker, and whenever the food is being cooked and the safety valve, what will it do? It will release the extra amount of pressure that is being built up in the pressure cooker. Whenever your mother or your sister cooks your uh, food for the family, the pressure is being built up whenever, because generally we always put water to cook the food in the to mix the vegetables and to cook the foods, and so that all the rotten vegetables and fruits must boiled out and must be cooked properly, and we mix the water into the pressure cooker into the vegetables. And whenever the pressure in the form of the steam or in the form of the steam is the being generated in the pressure cooker, and extra amount of pressure is being released by the pressure cooker by releasing its safety valve, that is called safety valve, and this safety valve is always called a pressure sensor. So your mother always sense that if there are after three whistles of the pressure cooker, your mother always know that the food has been cooked. Whereas in the case of the lighter foods with the softer foods, the food may cooked in the one pressure vessel. So these are the pressure sensors which are giving the signal to your mother or your sister at the home, whether the food is being cooked or not, or whether it is required more pressure to be built up uh, in the within the pressure cooker, so that the food is being cooked properly within the system. So whenever we're talking about the industrial plant or the industrial unit where the a number of machines are being installed in the industrial unit, so we always need pressure gauges or pressure sensors that sense that extra amount of pressure must be released in the atmosphere, and the machine should not bust up, the system should not bust up. Like if you see in your home also, if there may be some chances that a food may trap into the pressure vessel, so your mother always stop the cooking and check that whether there should not be any food may be trapped or crunched in between the pressure vessel, so that the extra pressure that may build up in the pressure cooker should not results in the damage of the pressure cooker, should not results in the busting of the pressure cooker, because extra amount of pressure that is being built up in the pressure cooker must be released. So similar in the similar way, in industrial units, in the larger amount of machines, the pressure sensor sense that large amount of pressure has been built up in the system, and it is need to be released to the atmosphere. And it is not only releasing the extra amount of pressure to the atmosphere, but also that it is maintaining the required amount of pressure. If we're talking about the pressure cooker, also we need a uh, requisite amount of pressure so that the food is to be cooked properly. Whereas if we are talking about industrial unit, pressure sensors are not only maintaining, or pressure gauges are not only maintaining, not only releasing the extra amount of pressure, but also they are maintaining the required amount of pressure within the system so that the system work properly. So this is the definition of pressure you must have understand now. So there are some different terms related to the pressure. We will study one by one. There are different types of pressures, which are being measured with the help of different type of gauges, and these are the types of pressure measurements. So first one is the atmospheric pressure, second one is gauge pressure, then we have vacuum pressure, then we have absolute pressure, and we have last but not least is the differential pressure. So what is atmospheric pressure? That is a normal pressure being exerted by the atmospheric air upon all the surface which are in contact with it. On our body, on our human beings also, atmospheric pressure is being exerted by the atmospheric air. All the living and non-living things experience the atmospheric pressure which is being exerted by the atmospheric air, which comes in its contact. Or simply we can say that the atmospheric pressure is the pressure caused by the atmosphere. So what is the value of that atmospheric pressure? It is generally h rho into g. I have not written here. It is h rho into g. H means what? That is the height of the fluid column, and rho is the density. You all know, I have discussed. So that's why I have told in the last lecture that rho, whenever I code these notations like rho, tau, you always understand, you must understand that these are the rho means density, tau means viscosity, and these are the mu means viscosity. Okay, sigma means surface tension. So I will just quote that abbreviation, and you must recall all the terms related to that abbreviation. And g is the, you all know, that is acceleration due to gravity, and its value is always fixed, 9.81 meter per second square. That is acceleration due to gravity. So atmospheric pressure generally varies with the altitude. As soon as you go upward, like in your hilly areas, that pressure increases, whereas on the normal areas, on the plain areas, there is a normal atmospheric pressure, and the normal value of atmospheric pressure is generally, it is 1.013 to 10 raised to power 5 pascals. What is pascal? 1 pascal is equal to 1 newton per meter square. Newton means thrust of the fluid which is acting on the surface, and meter square is the area on which that surface thrust is acting on that particular area of the fluid. So next one is the gauge pressure. It is being related to the ambient pressure, and instruments of gauges used to measure the fluid pressure generally measures the difference between the unknown pressure and the existing atmospheric pressure. So you can define the gauge pressure as the pressure which is measured with the help of the pressure measuring instrument. Like you are measuring the blood pressure of a patient. You are measuring the blood pressure of the patient, and it is giving the value of 140 by 90. So you can read from the value that the pressure is high of the blood in the body, because the normal value of blood pressure in the human being is generally 90 by 120. So if you are reading the value as 140 by 90, that means the doctor understand that there is a increase in the pressure in the blood in your body. So he prescribe you some medicine, or he can prescribe you some exercise, some change in the diet, so that the normal blood pressure can be achieved. So the pressure that is being measured by the doctor using that pressure measuring device is called a gauge pressure. So you can say any pressure which is measured with the help of the pressure measuring instrument is always termed as a gauge pressure. Okay. Uh, and we always consider to measure the gauge pressure, we always consider the atmospheric pressure as a datum head, or it is marked as a zero. So we measured, so by measuring that gauge pressure, that is, I have taken an example of blood pressure of human body. When the doctor is measuring the blood pressure of a human body, then it is taking the atmospheric pressure as zero. So if you consider that atmospheric pressure as zero, that is, you are measuring the gauge pressure from the absolute pressure. So you can see in the diagram also, we have a some zero value, that is perfect vacuum. We have a gauge pressure above the absolute pressure. So you can see this, the cursor of my mouse, that gauge pressure is always above the atmospheric, sorry, absolute pressure. So gauge pressure is defined as the pressure which is being measured by the pressure measuring device. So next is the vacuum pressure. What is vacuum pressure? When actual pressure is below than the atmospheric pressure is called the vacuum pressure. That is, the ordinary gauge falls fail to give the value of the pressure. Such pressure is measured by the so-called vacuum gauges and is referred as a negative gauge pressure or the vacuum pressure. So that is when the unknown pressure is lower than the atmospheric pressure, that is pressure below the atmospheric pressure, the pressure is known as the vacuum pressure. That is when there is no atmospheric air present in the system, that is called the vacuum pressure. That is, if you have sucked all the air from the atmospheric air from the system from a room, then the pressure that is left out or that is being measured at that point is known as the vacuum pressure. Next is the absolute pressure. It is being measured with respect to the vacuum pressure, and it is also defined as a pressure which is measured above the absolute zero. So you can see that you are considering, when you are considering a perfect vacuum, and whenever the temperature is being measured from exactly from the zero, it is termed as the absolute pressure. That is, all values of absolute pressures are always positive. So you can see absolute pressure is a positive pressure, and whereas vacuum pressure is a negative pressure which is being measured below zero, that is below atmospheric pressure, or you can say at the atmospheric pressure value surface, there is no atmospheric air is present in the system. Whereas when the absolute pressure is being made, it is always made above zero, and it is defined as the pressure which is measured above absolute zero. Okay? So all the values of the absolute pressure are positive as compared to the vacuum pressure, which is always negative in the terms of pressure measurements. Last but not the least is the differential pressure. Whenever we are having two different pipes and the fluid is flowing from two different pipes, like you're having a one pipe, you are sending the or transporting the fluid from point A to B, and in the another pipe you are sending the or transporting the fluid from point C to D, and we are having a different pressure. And with the using the same gauge, you are measuring the pressure difference of two pipes, two fluids, then that is called the differential pressure. So differential means difference between the pressure. That is when the pressure is being measured of the first pipe, that is AB, when the fluid is flowing from point A to B, two different fluids, we can measure the differential pressure of two different fluids as well as of the same fluids which are flowing at different pressures from point A to B and C to D respectively. And these are measured with the same, a single gauge, pressure gauge, that is called differential pressure gauge, and the pressure measured with this differential pressure gauge is called the differential pressure. That is when we are measuring the difference between the two pressures. Like I have taken an example of A to B and C to D, when two pipes are uh, incurring with the different pressures, when you are measuring the difference of the pressure. Let us say the pressure of the fluid which is flowing from point A to B is, let us say, is 5 Newton per meter square, that is 5 pascals. And from second pipe, that is the fluid is flowing from point C to D, we are having a pressure of 8 pascals or 8 Newton per meter square. Then the differential gauge will measure that difference of pressure and will give you the value of 3 pascal, that is 8 minus 5 is equal to 3. So that pressure which is being made by the differential gauge is called the differential pressure and giving us the value of the difference between the two pressures which is being traveled from two pipes. So next we are having the measurement of pressures. So I am again coming back to the definition. So we have read the pressure and its measurement. So I am again coming back to the pressure definition. So this is the static pressure. So you can see the pressure P is defined as the thrust or the force per unit area. So whenever you are applying a smaller effort, you can see in the diagram also we have a, on the one side of the tube we have smaller diameter, and on the other side of the tube we have the larger diameter. And whenever you are applying smaller effort, it is being exerted in the form of the larger effort, results in the larger output effort. So why it is exerts in the larger effort? Because you can see the area is more, and when the area is more, the pressure will be less, but you are getting the more force because F is inversely proportional to the area. So as soon as the area decreases, the force will be more. But area decreases, the force will be less. So you can see by applying F1 is equal to P into A1, you are applying smaller effort, and F2 is equal to P into A2. You are putting the value of P into A2 is equal to F1A. So it will becomes F1 into A2 by A1. So you are sending larger signal, you are sending a smaller signal to get the larger output in the case of the this differential cross sectional output pipe. Why it is called differential cross sectional pipe? Because at one end we have smaller uh, smaller diameter, and at the larger end we have output and we have the larger diameter. So continuing the pressure measurement, we have the formula of pressure is equal to force by area, and pressure can be used to measure other variables such as flow and level. We'll measure these with the help of the ensuing sections. Also in the ensuing chapters, we have flow through pipes, flow of fluids. We have two main chapters of our subject, that is chapter 3rd and chapter 4, flow of fluids and flow through pipes. So with the help of flow, we also measure the pressure. So pressure plays a major role in determining the boiling points of liquids. Fluid exerts pressure on the containing vessel equally and in all directions. So pressure measuring coming in the main part of this chapter, that is pressure and its measurement. We have the measuring devices. We have generally we have two measuring methods, that is mechanical methods and the electrical methods. So we'll continue on these. So first one is the pressure measuring methods. We have manometer method, we have elastic pressure transducers, we have pressure measuring by measuring vacuum, electric pressure transducers being measured by the devices like manometers, mechanical gauges, that both falls in the terms of the mechanical methods. And in the terms of mechanical gauges, we will read diaphragm pressure gauge, Bourdon tube pressure gauge, dead weight pressure gauge, and bellow pressure gauge. Whereas in the case of the manometers, we will read simple manometers and differential manometers. So, what are manometers? We have manometers are basically uh, defined as the devices which are being used for measuring the pressure at a point in a fluid by balancing the column of fluid by the same or another column of the fluid. This is the definition of manometer. You have to read it and you have to understand it. That is, whenever we have a, it is just like a manometer is just like a U-shaped column. You can see in the diagram, and we will attach this column at one end, and at other end will be at the atmospheric air. And whenever we are measuring the pressure at the when the fluid is flowing or when the fluid is at rest, we are attaching that one end. That is where it is arrow of P is here. You can see the cursor of the mouse. That this end is being attached to the tube of the pipe where the pressure is to be measured of the fluid. Then that fluid enters into it, and as soon as it rises, the difference between the rise of the column, that is, it is considered left limb, left column, and this is the right column of U-shaped manometer. It is basically of the alpha English alphabet U. That is why it is called U-tube manometers. So manometers basically measure the pressure difference by balancing the weight of fluid column between the two pressure of interest. Why I am talking about balancing of weight of fluid liquid? You can see whenever there is imbalance, the fluid may here in the left limb, the fluid may fall, in the right limb, the fluid may rise. So as soon as it reaches in the equilibrium stage or in the balancing stage, we can easily measure the accurate amount of difference between the rise of the fluid on the right limb and the fall of the liquid in the left limb. You can see this is considered H, that is a fluid column. That is difference between the rise in the liquid on the right limb of the U-shaped manometer and fall in the left limb, that is H. So this H gives us the fluid column or the pressure difference which is being present in the pipe where the fluid is to be, where the pressure is to be measured. So earlier we have an unknown pressure here. Then as soon as we'll attach this manometer to the fluid, this fluid will enter into that, and we have a some reference fluid also. Generally we use mercury here, and as soon as the waters enter into this, let us say we want to measure the pressure of the water on the flowing pipe. So as soon as we'll attach this U-tube manometer to the pipe from where the water is flowing, that water will push the liquid with, that is, with a heavier specific gravity. I am talking about heavier specific gravity. These terms I have discussed in the last class, that is properties of fluid, that is specific gravity. That the fluid must be used in the U-tube manometer must have more specific gravity as compared to the fluid whose pressure is to be measured. So that's why as soon as we have connected that U-tube manometer to the uh, point where the pressure is to be measured, whether the pressure is flowing or whether the pressure is at rest, and as soon as we have attached that end to the uh, point where the pressure is to be measured, the flow of fluid start entering that U-tube manometer and push that heavier specific gravity liquid in the downward direction. So therefore, this liquid falls from the left hand side of the limb and rise in the right hand side of the limb. So the difference between the rise of the liquid in the right limb of the specific gravity, heavier specific gravity liquid, let us say I have taken mercury here, and the fall of the liquid in the left limb is the difference is gives us the fluid column or the pressure at the pressure value at the point where the pressure is to be measured. So this is the working of U-tube manometer. And similarly, if we talk about the mechanical gauges, so these are the devices which are being used for measuring the pressure by balancing the fluid column by the spring or dead weight. A spring or dead weight is being generally assembled in the mechanical gauges. Uh, in all the mechanical gauges which are being used in the market, like diaphragm, we have Bourdon tube pressure gauge. So Bourdon tube pressure gauge is a generally common one, which you have already seen in the market, where you go for to check up the pressure of your vehicle. So always the worker or the mechanics has the Bourdon gauge tape. They will first install that or touch that Bourdon tube gauge to the valve of your tube, and they will measure that the pressure is 25 psi. That is pascals per square inch. So they will measure that we are having your tube is having 25 psi, and you say that just keep it at 35 psi. They will then fill the compressed air from the air compressor to the tube, and that's why the pressure is being measured. And they again check with the help of the Bourdon tube gauge that the pressure, whether the pressure of 35 psi has been achieved or not. If not, they will again fill the pressure, and if it is more, they will release the extra amount of pressure that is being may filled with the help of the air compressor. So that Bourdon tube gauge, that is mechanical gauges, the category of that falls in the category of mechanical gauges you may have seen in the market also. So they generally work on the principle of balancing the fluid column by the principle by the spring, sorry, and or dead weight. Dead weight is being used in the case of the Bourdon tube, or the dead in the case of the, sorry, diaphragm and dead weight, whereas the spring is being used in the Bourdon and bellow pressure gauge. So we'll discuss one by one all these manometers and mechanical gauges. In mechanical gauges, we have diaphragm. In our syllabus, according to our syllabus, diaphragm pressure gauge, Bourdon tube pressure gauge, dead weight pressure gauge, bellow pressure gauge. Whereas in the case of the manometers, we will study simple manometers, differential manometers, and in simple manometers, we will study piezometers, U-tube manometers, single column manometers, double column manometers, and micro manometers. Whereas in the case of the mechanical gauges, I have already said four types of pressure gauges are in your syllabus. So I think this is